Unmuted Voices, the podcast, Season 1, Voices from the Womb. I'm your host, Lexii, and this is a space where the silence will speak, the stories will flow, and the healing will begin. Each episode, we're going to share real, raw, and powerful experiences of Black women and families navigating Black maternal health to include pregnancy, motherhood, trauma, grief, loss, and everything in between. Because we were never meant to suffer quietly. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Unmuted Voices. Lexii, thank you for your time, your energy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for rocking out with us through every episode. Today, I have another special guest, my bro, Mike. He is going to be talking with us and chatting with us about the perspective from the male side. You know, you guys have so far heard from me. You've heard about my journey. You've heard from my friend Sunny. You've also heard from Dr. Pope. You've heard from Ashley. So now, we really wanted to also incorporate that male voice and get a father's perspective on what goes on during this process. What are they physically going through, emotionally going through? How are they supporting their partners, their wives, and really diving into it. So I'm so happy to have you here, bro. Thank you so much. How are
Thanks for
you
having
today?
me. I'm good. It's a busy day, and my son's at school, so I know you have the kids, and
Yeah.
so it's
Hands full.
easy. It's easy that he's not at school, but it's still a busy day. Working from home, and helping my wife with a lot of stuff because she's a full-time work from home person too. So she runs her own business from home, and and
Nice.
yeah. So
That's
it's
really
busy.
dope.
It's busy.
Trust me. I know. So let's dive right in. First question I want to ask you, how did you feel finding out that you guys were expecting?
I was both excited and nervous.
Why? Well, that's kind of
Excited
like a
because
weird question, but everyone is.
Excited because, it was my kid, my firstborn, the person that's going to continue the legacy. I get to share a special bond with that person, similar to the bond I share with my father, but it's different. I'm the dad and he's going to be the kid, right? So I got to set the example. I was nervous because I didn't want to fail him. I was nervous because I wanted to make sure the example I set, the kindness, the empathy that we expect in the world, and I would hope he would receive it from his peers and from teachers at school. And the world is evolving into a much different place than we know. And so I was nervous for all that,
Yeah, that's totally understandable. How was the pregnancy with your wife?
It was a difficult one. She had some medical complications that was at risk, that put her, and not only her, but the baby at risk. She was also traveling for work as well, too. Every
Wow.
2 weeks, she was getting on a plane and going to Chicago for 3 to 4 days a week. And then, traveling. And, if you've never been to Chicago, it's not a city where you can drive.
Mm,
I mean, you can drive, but obviously traffic and parking. And so for her, it was much easier for her to get on a plane early in the morning at 3 a.m. on a Monday, or leave at a Sunday evening, get public transportation, whether it's a train or Uber or a taxi, to the hotel or office where she's going to work at for the next couple of days. And then from the hotel, walk to work. And she did that for the majority of her pregnancy.
She was very active. That's a good thing, too.
Yeah, she was active, but at the same time, the traveling, the morning sickness, the nausea, the high blood pressure, the preeclampsia, the swelling of the legs. She had numerous health issues going on. And so they labeled her pregnancy high-risk pregnancy.
How early was she diagnosed with the preeclampsia? Do you remember?
I don't, maybe about 5 months. At 5 months
Wow,
in
that's
the
pretty
pregnancy.
early. I know
Yeah.
usually they say preeclampsia shows towards the end of the pregnancy more so.
No, hers showed early, because I remember during one of her trips, that was a scary time. During one of her trips to Chicago, she was on her way back and she started to feel some pain. And I ended up having to call a family friend there. And I said, hey, I need you to go check on her. She's about to head to the airport. We need to get her to the emergency room. And that was the first time we thought we lost the baby. So she ended up having to go to the emergency room. They didn't find a heartbeat or anything for a little bit. But my son, but while he was in the womb, he would lay still and almost like he would sense the Doppler and he would move away from it and lay
They
in a
didn't like
position
they
to
didn't
where
like it.
he didn't
Mhm.
like it. And so when they didn't hear the heartbeat, they grew concerned. And the doctor was really nice. And my sister-in-law, she's an ER physician, and so she had some contacts in Chicago, and she called and had them take a look. So long story short, the doctor ended up did finding the heartbeat. The doctor took some, pictures, echo pictures, screenshots of the echo that was done, the fetal echo actually. And
Mhm.
then my wife came home the next day. And then I was like, look, okay, well, you're not going to work from home. You're going to rest. And she did that for a little bit, but then she ended up going right back to work. So,
We're stubborn. Stubborn women. We like the independence. We like to be on the move. So kind of hard to tell us to slow down.
yeah. And then I wouldn't say about at 10 months, maybe 11 months into pregnancy, she ended up having to go to the hospital again twice. And this time for extended stay, one for like 4 days, another one for like 5 days. And then, her blood pressure just kept rising. And, no matter the medication, the adjustment to the blood pressure pills that she was taking, her vitals and her pressure didn't respond to it. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to have to induce you. And, they induced her one day.
What was that like for you? Like just dealing with all of that mentally before the induction? Like I can imagine it was crazy.
Yeah, because at that point, it was nothing I could do, right? I mean, I can say rest and try to rest and, and no matter what, I just knew there was nothing I could do. I could pray, which is what I did. I ended up just praying and just trying to be there and trying to be as helpful as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, it was just something that, as a husband and a future father that I couldn't control, and I felt helpless. I was scared half the time, and it was rough.
Yeah, I know my husband definitely felt some of the same feelings. I mentioned the first episode, I had preeclampsia as well, which led me to get induced. And there were moments where I'm not gonna lie, we both just sat there and cried together
hmm
because it was just like he's like, I can't help her. I don't know what to do. He was also extremely scared. And I remember like I think it was like hitting up his parents and I was like, can you please talk to him? I'm worried about him. Like, I need him to be just as strong, both of us, and it definitely was rough for him too,
You know,
in
s
dealing with all of that.
sometimes we as men, we try to put on this tough exterior, this tough showing to the public. But in those times when our partner is going through something that we can't control, I think that's what's the scariest part for a lot of us,
Yeah,
that we can't do no matter what we do physically or say, we can't fix it or do it. Like I know with women, sometimes they come to us with a problem, but they don't want us to solve it, right? Men's nature is to try to solve a problem for our partner. And our partner is like, no, I just want you to hear. In this
yeah,
scenario, we can't hear or fix because the more we hear is the more uncomfortable we feel and the more anxiety we feel. And that's a scary thing for us. That's a very scary place for us.
yeah, that is super scary. I can't even imagine, and that's why I felt like it was so important to get the male perspective and
hmm
really hear about it. Do you remember what the induction was like for her? Like, I don't know if you can recall some of the medicines they may have used. I know they use, like, different methods.
So it's funny because I was at work. I went to work. I mean, my wife went to her doctor's appointment. And like I said, my sister-in-law, she is a ER physician. And so she was like, I'm coming to the appointment with you. And so my sister-in-law did. And then the doctor said, are we ready to have a baby today? And my wife kind of looked up and was like, wait, what? And the doctor said, yeah, we can't wait any longer. We have to induce you. So then they ended up getting her to the hospital because her doctor was at a clinic, outside clinic. And then so my sister-in-law drove her to the hospital. And then I ended up leaving work and going to the hospital to be there with her. And
Wow.
so by the time I got there, they had already given her all the medicine to induce her. Well,
Got
the
it.
first part of the medicine.
Okay. Wow. That is a lot.
So exactly what medications they gave her, I don't know. I was just
Yeah.
focused on trying to keep her calm because her nerves were
I believe it, because to be told, like, you're going to have the baby not on when you plan to have the baby, and you have to medically
Yeah.
force yourself to have this baby and not go through that natural method,
Yep.
it is rough. It's definitely rough.
Yeah.
So I could definitely understand. All right. We had
Look
a
at the
quick
baby.
pause. We had a visitor come visit us today and join in the section.
Yeah.
So that means I might get thrown up on, but it's all right. We're going to
It's
keep
okay.
going with it.
Yeah.
So we kind of left off talking about the induction.
Yeah.
Can you share with me, like, how long was the induction? Was it a hard induction? Do you remember what she was going through during that time?
So I got there at, I want to say about 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, the first, maybe it was closer to 11. The first part of the induction was done. And I can't remember when they did the second part. I think it was like later in the afternoon, but it was like a calm, no movement. Time was just, it was almost like a standstill, but it was moving fast. It felt like it was, it's weird to describe it. It felt like time was moving slow, but every time you look up, it's 30 minutes later, it's 45 minutes later, but it feels like 5 minutes have gone by.
Yeah.
And we were just there, just talking, and she was in the bed, and there was not really a lot happening. And then in the afternoon, I think they came and gave her the second part of the induction. I think, like I said, I think there were like 2 different medicines they gave her. I'm not a doctor. I'm just an IT guy, so I don't know. But they did give her some more medicine in the afternoon, and then things began to pick up sometime around 10 p.m. at night. I think that's around the time they gave her the epidural.
So that's when the pain was just like, okay, I
Yeah,
need some
the pain
help.
started coming and she needed some help. So they gave her the epidural. And then I want to say about 3 in the morning, the pain started getting worse. Because I remember there was a football game on TV and I was watching the game, and she was laying in bed. My sister-in-law was late on the couch, and I was sitting on the chair in the room and watching the game, as you know, and she was trying to sleep. And this is around 3 in the morning. They came and gave her some more, and I think her water broke at that time.
Okay.
And then her water broke, and then we were just there, and we were, talking, and then the nurses came in, and then next thing you know, it's 6 in the morning. Then next thing you know, it's like 8, and they were like, okay, it's time to start pushing now. And then I looked up, it's 9:30, and here he came.
Was that experience, like, did you actually watch them come out, or were you
Yeah,
kind of?
I watched him. I had my wife's phone and I recorded it with the phone. I didn't feel faint. I didn't, I was nervous because, they say when a woman gives birth that she's really close to death. So
Mm.
my sister-in-law was there. So we had specific duties to do. My wife gave us specific duties. One, when
Nice.
my son comes out, if I cut when I cut the umbilical cord, I follow him with the nurses. And then my sister-in-law stays with my wife and her OB and the delivery doctor. They were all in the room. And then this was pre-COVID. So you can have like 30 people in the room, what felt like at the time. Now with COVID and everything,
Yeah.
they limit the amount of people that can come in the room. So we had quite a few. It was a room full of people. So I followed my son with the nurses as they looked at him. And then my sister-in-law stayed with my wife to make sure she was okay. They had to give her some magnesium, which was dropping his blood pressure because it was making him relaxed. So that's when they were like, all right, we have to get him out now. So,
Got you. Okay.
yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Like, I remember that magnesium. That magnesium was not fun. That was like
No.
at the point where I was just like, take him out. They were
Mm-hmm.
like, do you want to try? Keep trying. I was like, absolutely not. Take him out.
Yeah.
Just go and cut him out.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. When you get to that point of needing magnesium, it's a very scary kind of
Yep.
like,
Yep. Because the effects of the magnesium. Hi, baby.
I'm going to pause real quick.
Okay.
All right, life as a parent does not stop, as you guys
No,
can see.
no, it does not. It does not.
We
It does
don't
not.
skip a beat. All
It
right,
does not.
so let's hop right back in. You were talking about, your wife going on magnesium and
Yeah.
you being with your son. I'm gonna assume being that you guys had that plan. Did she have like a particular birthing plan given she had these complications?
So she had a plan just in case something did happen to her during the pregnancy. Her plan was to save the baby any means necessary. My plan was different than that. My plan was to save her. Obviously, men think different in these
Yeah.
situations than women, right? My thinking was always we can always have another baby. Her thinking was she would save her life. She would save the baby's life for hers instead of hers. And so she was willing to make that sacrifice for a kid.
How
And
did that
so
make you feel?
sad because I mean I've always been like my father. I've always thought like yes, I would give my life for my kid, right? But I wasn't the one making that sacrifice in that moment when my child was being born. I wasn't the one making that sacrifice. So it was kind of it's different. Like if somebody broke in my house, right? And I know I'm the one to defend my house, I'm going to sacrifice myself for my family, right? But at the end of the day, I can't make that decision for my wife, No matter what I say, I can't make that decision for my wife because she was the one in that moment. She was the one going through that pain.
That's hard. I'm gonna be honest. As a woman, I'm not sure which direction I would personally have went down um, for that as well, because it's like it's a different feeling when you have these little beings inside of you and
Hmm.
you have that connection and you've carried them.
Yeah,
That's tough.
yeah, it is
But
tough.
so grateful that she is here with us still,
Yeah,
despite
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
How did things go after birth for
So
her?
after birth, yeah, I know that feeling, man. Things continue to go. It was bad for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because all the amount of magnesium that she had,
Yeah.
and also the epidural numbed her
Mm.
body. So she ended up having to be monitored overnight by the nurses, and we also had a newborn, right? So, but he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't eating. He wasn't eating. He didn't eat. He didn't want to
Oh.
eat. So we ended up having to move him to the NICU and feed him through hose.
Okay.
He couldn't latch on to the bottle. He couldn't latch on to her nipples. So we had to feed him through a tube.
I totally get it.
Yeah. And then it was and then so not only with that, but the state of Missouri, the car seat test, you have to do a car seat test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you do a car seat test when a baby is born, again, every state is different. I don't know about the other states, but I know in Missouri, your child not blood pressure, oxygen level when they sit in a car seat has to be over a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny's kept dropping below 80. I think that's the number. Don't quote me if your listeners out there. Don't just I
Listen, not medical
uh,
advice, lived
no.
experience.
As far as I can remember, the number was 80. I may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the number was, but the number was 80 and he was dropping below that. And so we had to stay in the NICU for a little bit, all while still not latching onto a bottle. So he ended up latching onto the bottle to eat like a day or two later, but his oxygen level was still not where it's supposed to be. So we ended up having to send him home on oxygen. So we had this big machine. This machine was huge. It had like a
Wow.
compressor in there. It made a lot of noise. It almost sounded like a chainsaw just kept going and going and going and going every time he was in the room. But then they gave us this portable bag that was very quiet, and that was for if we're getting in the car, going to the doctor's office. If
Mm-hmm.
we did take him to the store to buy groceries or whatever, that
Mm-hmm.
bag would be with him, and he would use it while sitting in the car seat.
Wow. That is a lot.
Yeah.
I know that's probably overwhelming for you guys. How were you guys there for one another during that time? Because I know like it's so much going on, having a brand new baby, but then not only, her having medical complications, but now he has medical complications.
Right. So and then not only that, I was still working.
Mm,
So
wow.
I ended up having to they ended up giving me like 2 weeks off.
Okay.
So I did have 2 weeks off. So the 2 weeks covered the entire stay of the NICU. But my mother-in-law, when she was alive, she would come over and spend time with my wife. My sister-in-law would come over when she can while I was at work. When I came
Hmm.
home, it was me and Johnny. while she did what she needed to do, get some rest. She was
Mhm.
so her company was a British company. I'm not going to say the name. Her
Mhm.
company was a British company that she worked for. And Europe, they gave mom 6 months off.
Nice.
So she had 6 months maternity leave off. So she didn't have to stress and worry about work.
Mhm.
But, that was a break from work, but it wasn't a break from home things, right?
Sounds like my life right now.
you know it wasn't a break from home things. So she was, I try to tell her, when he's resting, get some rest. When he's,
Mhm.
eating, try to eat. And when I come home, I'll try to wash dishes when I can, or whatever, I'll take him. So we try to balance it out, right? We tried our best. We did our best to try and balance it out. When I came home, I would have him until midnight or 1 in the morning, just trying to keep him calm, keep him in the bed, in his bed, while he slept on an incline, and while the machine was
Mm.
going. And then I would go in for like 4 hours of sleep, and then I would get up so that she can at least brush her teeth, wash her face, at least get something to eat before I have to get ready and get out to work.
It took a lot of teamwork and patience with one another,
It
I
was
can
I
imagine.
was I was falling asleep driving to work. I was really tired. I know but I can't complain because I know she had it worse. She was
Yeah,
really tired. She had him during the day, a couple hours a night, and then the routine just became unbearable at times. But we did our best at that time to kind of balance each other out.
it's beautiful. And that's why it's really important to have a great partnership. I know a lot of people can kind of
Hmm.
struggle during
Yeah,
this time.
yeah, yeah. It was. And then so the machine was in the house for a few months, about 2 months. And then we ended up going to the doctor and they did the measurement test of its oxygen and all that. And he was good. And then we just kind of, instead of pulling just going from oxygen to room air, they just kind of weaned him off a little bit at a time. And then he was,
That's really good. That's definitely good. I'm glad that he was able to kind of push through that and you guys were able to work through
hmm
that experience as well. I can't really imagine. I know the getting the routine and having the late nights, and things of that nature.
yeah,
It gets crazy,
it
but
does. It does.
it's important to have great partnership. How did you guys balance time for one another? I know that's something like my husband and I sometimes struggle with having the baby. It's like
Right.
balancing how do we spend time with each other still?
It's still because, so like my sister-in-law, she works weird hours, and sometimes she doesn't have them during the week. My job is very demanding. My wife's job is very demanding. So it's still a ongoing flow type thing, but we do try to spend time together. Like on the weekends, we would find a festival or find something that we can just go to and walk around and do stuff together. Because dealing with a special needs kid is just kind of, it takes over your life. It takes over your life.
Mm,
Like, I come home in the evening and my wife is still working, so it's me and my son, and getting him something to eat, and making sure he eats what my wife puts in front of him. Then helping him with his schoolwork, and just making sure he's doing the things he needs to do, so that my wife does come out the office, all she has to do is get herself together and for him.
yeah, no, that's totally understandable. Now you mentioned that he has special needs. If it's okay with you, what exactly?
So at 2 years old, just over two, just before his third birthday, he was officially diagnosed with autism. So with that diagnosis, he qualified for ABA therapy and speech and OT. When he was 8, we noticed that he was 8 months old. When he was 8 months old, we noticed
Mhm,
that he was not doing certain things at his age that he would normally do,
mhm,
that he should be doing. One was walking. He wasn't walking.
mhm,
He was crawling just a little bit, but he would barely hold his head up. There were certain things motor wise that he wasn't doing. He still wasn't
mm,
talking words. It was almost like he was saying mom, 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 dad. He would say little things. And then it was almost like someone flipped a switch or snapped their finger, and he reverted all the way back. And so we had to and we started to see some behavioral things because he couldn't effectively communicate what he wanted to communicate. So this was around 2.5. And so it was a 6 months wait. So right when he turned 2, we tried to schedule the appointments for the pediatric behavioral physician. I just want to make sure I try to use the right terminology. It was a 6 month wait to see him, and now it's even a longer wait. It's like 18 months or something like that.
Yeah, I think I was sharing with you, it is quite a long wait. My husband and I actually have been going through that process. We actually finally just finished that process with our middle child.
Mm-hmm.
Zai, he was just actually diagnosed with autism as well. And we kind of noticed some of those behavioral things in him more so, I want to say, in some of like the stemming things
Yes.
that they would
Yes.
do.
Yep.
He's tried to walk at 10 months and then he never, like, he attempted once, walked the once, and never did it again until almost 15 months. And there were just things that we would notice and we're like, oh, we're not sure. But it was a pediatrician. It wasn't even his doctor. They're like, based on how you answered the survey, you need to go and get him evaluated.
Yeah.
We went through a lot of the in denial things. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. I think we probably still go through some of that to this day because it's
Yeah.
so new and
Yeah.
he just turned 2 3
Yeah.
months ago. So we're also kind of in that journey and dealing with that in those long wait periods of trying to go through the evaluations and get the services.
Yeah. Securing the evaluation is great. I know
Mhm.
some parents don't want that label on their kid, but it actually helps you and your kid out, especially in the school system. So when your child has an issue, whether it's behavioral or somebody not understanding what the child request is, it helps protect them. It also gives the principal and teachers a lifeline to become partners with you in ensuring your child receive the proper education that they need. Our son is on an IEP, which is an individual education plan, to where it outlines some of the things that he needs. Hi, baby.
I know.
Yeah. Hi.
I'm gonna sit up so we can throw up on mommy some more. But I need that there. I want to protect myself.
So yeah, it helps him. I'm sorry, I'm just
It's okay.
okay. Yeah, so it kind of the IEP plan and the 522 has the food plan. So like not only is my son autistic, he's also allergic to peanuts, or tree nuts, I should say. And so, within that plan, it gives the teacher a guideline, okay? And the teacher would email all the parents, hey, we have someone with a peanut allergy. Don't send your kid to school with peanuts or anything with nuts or tree nuts
Right.
or peanut butter or anything. Keep it out the classroom, because we have, it protects. It also carves out plan during the day for speech and OT that he can receive from within the school with specialists. It also, the diagnosis also helps your health insurance company. So like my health insurance company has a specific division just for ABA therapy. That's all they do. And so they were able to work with us with finding a school that was accredited and offered ABA therapy. It also helps bring services into school that my kid would need. So we were able to partner with the school district and our health insurance company and outside agencies to give Johnny the best stuff that he needs.
That's amazing. We're kind of at that point now where we've got the diagnosis and we're waiting for our services. We did start special instruction with him
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, well, while we got approved, let's go ahead and just start. And we just got approved for ABA, so he'll get
Yeah.
some more time. We finally got the approval for him to start school. He is going to start school early at the young age of 2,
Nice.
an early Head Start program where he'll be able to receive his services, receive speech as well, which we're really excited about. They said he's mildly on the spectrum, but I'm just happy as a whole that we caught it and we're able to get him the help that he needs, whether it was mild or moderate or severe. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
it's important that these children are able to be supported.
Yes.
How did you guys feel going through the process?
Going through the process, it was emotional and taxing because it felt like it would never end. We ended up having to pull him out of early education and put him in ABA therapy because he qualified for 40 hours a week.
Nice. Okay.
So we ended up having to he ended up going to this to and he qualified for 40 hours a week, so that was 8 hours a day. The thing with these centers, they hire based on the number of children, so 1 for 1 or 2 for 1. They would have one tech or therapist per kid. They had the therapist and then they had techs, right? So the techs, they would hire one tech per kid or one tech per 2 kids. Yeah, I know, I'm sleepy too.
He's like, why aren't you talking to me? Look at me and talk to me.
Yeah. And so we had to wait till they were able to pair him up with something and then someone. And then sometimes the pairing with child to tech, sometimes it's not a good fit.
Because they don't take to everyone.
Sometimes they don't pair well.
Yeah, their energies. They still feel energy and they can understand when someone's energy is off. I know that was a problem for us in doing evaluations. Like, I would know that there's just certain things Zion can do, and I obviously know things he can't do. And when you get the report, it just seems so absurd that it's like, okay, this isn't quite right.
Right.
And that was because he just would not participate because he did not like the person.
Yes. And so we had to work through those issues too, where Johnny didn't get along with everyone. And so we ended up, he stayed there, but they ended up having to pair him with someone else. And then one of the things they worked on him with is for 2 days, he'll be with one tech. The third day, they'll add another tech. So it'll be 2 techs there working with him. And then on the 4th day, the original tech from beginning of the week would move, and then the new tech would work with him. So they kind of started doing that with him. But there were a few that he really loved. And then when he became school age, when he turned 5, they graduated him out. He couldn't get any more services through there. So he still needed the services, but they only did up to grade school level. So we were then able to move him back into early education, back at the same school, and get some services through there. But because of ABA therapy, he went from saying maybe 10 words to an explosion of words to where even now we're like, you have to be quiet and stop talking.
That's beautiful. That is like really my hope. A lot of the behavioral things, and you said, because of the lack of being able to communicate or articulate, that's kind of like where we're at now. So it's a lot of like, I just get mad and just scream like, ah, and he'll hit. So it takes a lot of patience for me right now to remember that he is an awesome child. And he just needs a little bit more help, and gentle parenting has to trump the Caribbean parenting. And you can't do that Caribbean parenting with the children that have those needs. So I'm really learning a lot through this process. And this is the first time I'm really also sharing it publicly too. What we've been going through, dealing with postpartum, from having this little handsome guy to then also at the same time dealing with trying to get Zion what he needs and helping him and battling the feelings I think I told you of, like them making me feel like it was my fault. Through the questionings
they
and the things they ask.
They ask questions, and I don't look at it as them. So from my perspective, I never looked at it as them blaming me or blaming my wife for what my son was going through or battling at the time. I looked at it as God. Again, I don't know if you believe in God. I would never preach to anyone.
Strong believer.
I do.
Strong believer. Right? Preach away.
I know I do, right? And I looked at it as God saw that this person, my kid, your kid, needed someone who can love him. And he entrusted us with the gift that these kids bring to love them and to be there for them. Because someone else would have hurt them already. Someone else would have taken advantage. Someone else would have given up on them. and God knew we wouldn't. And that's how I look at it.
think I'm doing much better.
Hmm.
And I think the one day we were kind of talking about it, I definitely was like breaking down. I was in tears. My husband came home. He's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I feel like this." And it's definitely been an emotional whirlwind
Yeah.
for us all. But you know, I'm really happy that
Yeah.
things are working out. I'm glad that your wife is here. I'm
Yes.
glad you guys obviously made it. You're still together, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
I know really challenging things like this can break some couples.
It can, and it's difficult. It has taken a lot of praying, a lot of tears, a lot of long nights, and a lot of early mornings. But I know that God brings people to, and sometimes what has kept me mentally strong. Um, Obviously, it was prayers, number one. Two, I had a strong family, but also a strong team behind me,
Mhm.
right? I have my friend Blair, Moda Queen, Roxanne, Nina, always checking on me, always making sure I'm straight, just being there. I also used music as kind of my therapy, to just wrap myself in the goodness of music and my friends and the team. That's what I used, my for my therapy and my getaway.
Now, you mentioned this team. Can you share? Obviously, I know, but can you share with everyone who this team is and what team we're referencing?
Oh
Because I
yeah,
would
team.
love for everyone to follow you.
Oh yeah, team blessed, man. Big up Mo, Nina, Blair, bro, my Blair, man. Blair's my guy, man. Big up Blair, Roxanne. That's my moderator. She's, when she became a moderator, she kind of just went in head first. And I tell her all the time that I appreciate her, but I don't think she knows how much I appreciate her. And my team,
She's an
man.
amazing soul.
Yes, she is. Yeah, Roxanne is amazing person, man. Big up Motor Queen, Nina's, you know, the newest DJ on the team, and Mo is Blair's moderator, but Mo is actually the manager for the team. So anything Team Bless. So like we went to Swanky and Mo kind of organized everything for us, the place to stay and places we're gonna do and or activities we're gonna do outside of just going to Swanky and hanging out with people from Twitch. We kind of did the hangout with Twitch, but we kind of also did things together as a team.
That's beautiful.
We also did that. So Mo was the key part in that, and I think it kind of opened our eyes to some things and made us just that much stronger as a team. I know Miss Roxanne was working a lot during the time we were there, but when she was around, her presence was felt. So I just appreciate them as a family and as a team. They're like my second family. So
Nice.
yeah,
Where can we find you on Twitch? What's your
man.
handle? How
Oh,
often are you on? We want to share this blessing of the music with everyone else as well as we kind of come to an end. I want to make sure we plug that in too. I will put it in the comments for you guys too.
oh man.
Just to quickly plug, like they are an amazing team.
Yeah,
Everyone on the team. I've been following you guys for it's almost going on 2 years now,
yeah,
I think.
yeah, yeah. 2 years.
I also started like my journey on Twitch. It's a whole other story. I don't think I ever got to really share that with you. We can talk about that offline. But yeah, amazing team. You guys gotta follow different genres of music.
Yeah.
Amazing music.
We're a Caribbean-based team.
Hmm.
But we play everything from R&B, neo soul, hip hop, southern soul. That's that Blair does an amazing job doing right by that genre. Soca, dancehall.
I know
Not
Nina
everything
gets
is.
into some hip hop.
Yeah.
I've caught a couple sessions with her.
Nina does a great job doing that. But yeah, I'm on Twitch. I stream Sundays and Mondays. Those are my official days to stream. My handle is DJ Mighty Mike 23. You have DJ Blair _, on Twitch, and then you have Selecta _ Nina B. That's the
Beautiful.
three DJs on Team Bless, and we also have our mods, Motor Queen and Roxanne. And we just we try to make it a family thing. No matter what we're playing, not every music is going to be clean music, right? And
Yes.
so we're humans, and so we just enjoy music as a whole. But I can't wait for you to get back on Twitch.
Yeah, soon. We'll get there. We'll get there.
But
Taking
I
it
know
one step at a time.
But I know
And
your hands are full. But I know your hands are full.
my hands are full, and I'll kind of preview this with you and share this with you and with everyone else who eventually will see this episode. I am also, the reason I have not stepped back into Twitch world just yet is because I am actually studying to be a realtor. And I actually probably posted a video about that recently.
Yeah.
So I transparently, I failed the test the first time I took it, and I was sad. I was heartbroken, but I also just had a baby 2 months ago. Went from when I took it. So, being overly ambitious on top of just moving into a house that my husband and I bought. So, I am studying and working with my real estate team. I'm already a part of a brokerage. They're really just waiting for me to get licensed so we can hit the ground running and get things on the roll. So,
But I
but
will share
I'll
this.
return to Switch soon.
I would share this. I would share this. That failure of the test is not an indication or indicative of what you are as a person or who you are as a person. It's not an indication of where you are in life. I'll share this story real quick, and then I know you want to wrap up, but I'll share this story real quick. Right back in 2019, my wife was transitioning from her job, unemployment, and she was really heartbroken about it. And I said to her at that time, I said, "You are where you're supposed to be, right?" I said, "Something needs you to be in this space." A few months later, her grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. A few months later, he got worse, and then he died shortly after. During that time, she was able to be there for him because and take him to the doctor's appointments and just being there for him, because in that moment in time, her family needed her to be there for him. So I'm saying that to say you are where you're supposed to be because God needs you where you are right now.
I agree. And I said I failed it on purpose. Well, not on purpose, but I failed it because it was a mechanism to slow me down. And like you said, to be in the moment and be present in the where I'm supposed to be.
Because something or someone in this part of your life needed you to be focused in the area that I don't know where it is, but in the area where you needed to be focused in that area in order to help your family move to the next part. And then your blessing of passing the test will come. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Because I know I would be beating myself up if that was me.
I did because I
But
had to retake the course.
I don't want you to beat up yourself. But I don't want you to be hard on yourself, sis. I don't want you to be hard on yourself. You are where you're supposed to be, and God has you in the area where you need to be. Anyway, I know I've talked a lot. I'm done talking.
Yes. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, bro. I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you being here. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you to your wife. Thank you to Johnny. I appreciate all of you. If this resonated with any of you today, please let us know. Like it, share it with someone else who may find this video helpful with information we shared. Again, lived experience, not medical advice. We want to hear from you guys. We really enjoy the opportunity to engage with everyone. If you'd like to share your story, even, we would love for that to happen too.
Yes.
So this has been another episode of Unmuted Voices. Until next time, I would do the heart, but little man is in my hands. So
I'll do it for
see
you.
you guys later.
I'll do it
Thank
for
you.
you. All right.
All right.
Bye.